So at this time, if you would help me welcome the mayor, Fletcher Berger.
Good evening. And I would like to first of all thank all of you for attending this city address. I would certainly like to acknowledge first of all our members of council. If our members of council would stand to be acknowledged, I would be appreciative. And I would also like to acknowledge my administrative assistants, my directors, and all of the employees that we have here who work so hard on behalf of the business and residents of this community. And I certainly don't want to neglect to acknowledge my First Lady and yours, Ms. Melva Berger. I'm always cautious now about getting into these acknowledgments and naming individuals. So I'm going to try to stay away from that. Except I did see our state person. Where did he go? There he is. I do want to pay attention to Mr. Kenny Hugo, who has come here. He is our representative down at the state, in Columbus, and he's doing some good things down there that's beneficial to our city. So I just want to give you a plug, if I may.
Thank you, Mayor.
To our residents and businesses, I want you to know what we do is all for you. And I say this because my heart is filled with this, and I am humbled, truly humbled, and honored to serve as the mayor. And it is a responsibility that I cherish and look forward to continuing for years to come. The fact is that the state city address is an opportunity to recap the previous year and to share information regarding the finances, the things that have been scheduled, the things that are scheduled to be complete, and overall give you a vision of where the city is going as we look forward. And as Renee said, Melva, Stacy, and I have lived in Bedford Heights for over 36 years. This is a place that we know is a wonderful place to live in, to raise a family, to run a business, and we have no plans of ever leaving this place. As I enter my 8th year, as Renee stated, as mayor, and reflect on the many challenges that we've had come before us, it is important to note that these challenges that we have faced have been vast. But the beauty of that is that these challenges have allowed us to get the experience that is necessary for us to complete the vision that we have going forward for this city. And I feel that the challenges that we have faced, we collectively, and I talk about we as in the council people, I talk about we as in the directors and my administration, we have successfully carried those things out. And I think it has shown that we have been up to every task that has faced us. One of the things that is going to be required for us to sustain this going forward is going to be regionalism. Now, regionalism is clearly defining goals and focus and commitments and committed partnerships. And so what we've been doing is we've been getting partnerships to do a lot of the things we do. The commitment of purpose is what Bedford Heights, Bedford, Garfield Heights, and Maple Heights came together to do with the county and the federal government to plan, develop, and build a state-of-the-art Southeast Area 911 Communication Center, which is located in our City Hall in Bedford Heights. And by the way, anybody who is interested in touring that facility, I will take you there this night. It is operational at this exact moment. It is a $3 million facility that was completely paid for with county and federal dollars. Not a single cent was spent from any of the cities that's involved in this to make it happen. Now, the other thing about that center is, although we have 4 partners who are in that center right now, we have the ability to add an additional 5 communities into that center. The collaborative efforts of this facility will improve emergency responsiveness, reduce costs for every participating member now and in the future. Now, we all know that cost management has become an even more vital part of governing these days. So while we continue to emerge from what has been a national financial crisis that has focused many communities on a situation of having to do more with less, and we are no exception. But over the past several years, many of our local businesses have reduced their payroll in an effort to remain competitive. Now, the domino effect of that is it creates fewer dollars in terms of income for the cities that are involved in that. Now, having said that, based on the information we have from Regional Income Tax Agency that collects our taxes, there appears to be some positive momentum underway. Due to a variety of factors over the years, our own employee headcount has been reduced. As a matter of fact, since 2008, we have reduced our employee headcount by 72 employees. That's 40 full-time employees, 32 part-time employees. As of the end of 2014, we had 129 full-time and 69 part-time employees. These reductions were achieved primarily through attrition and not filling vacancies. And in some cases, it's simply a matter of doing things different. Now let me say this. These employee reductions have had a beneficial effect on our payroll expenses, as you would imagine. For example, from 2008, when the payroll was $11,100,000, down to the end of 14, $9,800,000. So in short, we have reduced our payroll by $1.3 million. Now, that's a lot of money. But to make this clear, the decisions that we made and the strategies that we've implemented have not affected the level or the quality of safety service or the overall maintenance of the community, which our residents and our business community have come to expect to rely on. And this is due, no doubt, to the dedication, talent, and experience of our employees who continue to find ways to do more with less. Now job creation continues on the rise within Bedford Heights itself, and unemployment is steadily declining. Now, having said that, unemployment is always painful if you're the one person who's unemployed. However, there is reason for optimism. The national unemployment rate fell from 6.7% at the end of 13 to 5.6% at the end of 16, or at the end of 2014. So obviously you can see there is some obvious movement going on. Now let's talk about closer to home. Ohio remains below the national average at 5.4%. Now, while this is low here in Ohio, Cuyahoga County sits at 6.4% versus the national average. So they're a little bit under that beneficial gain that other communities and other states have received. But what does all that mean to us financially is one of the most important things. And let me point out that as the mayor, you know, I'm the mayor, I'm the safety director, but equally important, I'm the chief executive officer for the community. And I have a responsibility to ensure the safety and the security of our residents. And we must also ensure that the overall condition and appearance of the city conveys the high standards that we have established and that our residents have come to expect. Most importantly, we have to ensure the financial well-being and the stability of this community. Because without the financial stability, none of the previous things that I stated can be achieved. So the stakes are high, and this is very serious that we're dealing with. Now, cities are required by state law to balance their budget. And for as long as I've been mayor of this community, we have balanced our budget. And we will maintain a balanced budget this year. The concept is very simple. Don't spend what you don't have. It seems so simple. But are you going to be courageous enough to stick to it? That is the achievement. Now, I sent a 2015 budget to council, and it has been approved by council. And this year's budget, as in the past, includes a $1 million plus set aside in a contingency fund for unforeseen situations. None of us can see the future. And so when unexpected things happen to us, I do not expect to be standing around waiting for the cavalry to come. My attitude is, as my folks always hear me say, we are the cavalry. The cavalry is not coming. Don't sit around waiting for it. You need to be able to plan ahead for yourselves. Now, our revenue stream has been relatively steady over the past couple of years. However, we recently saw a reduction in 2014. And our projection for 2015 forecast is not much rosier. You know, so we don't expect to see some great influx of cash for 2015. So this reduction, however, will not inhibit our ability to meet our financial obligations and plans for the future. Now, we have always taken a proactive approach to managing and operating the city, and I will continue that approach into 2015. This program will reduce our costs by improving our recycling rates, thanks to Nick Bacco and his folks, and we will continue that. But this is going to be a different kind of system, and you will be hearing more about that. The fact of the matter is that in 2014, we spent $415,000 to pick up the trash. That's a lot of money. And so this new plan that we're approaching is going to lower that cost, and I believe provide better service to the overall community. Now, let me encourage you here, although we had a modest revenue increase in 12, in the last 2 years before that, 13 and 14, have not been so rosy. And I just want to emphasize, that the things are not jumping off the chart at us, but that's no reason for us to panic, and we haven't. Our local business community has shown a modest improvement in revenue increases over the past couple of years, which is an indication of a steadily improving economy moving forward. Now, we saw an increase in job creation in 2014 in our community. However, we must continue to be cautious, reduce our operating costs and our expenditures. So allow me to throw a couple of numbers at you here. In 2014, the city received $26.6 million in revenue. Now, it came from various sources, so let me just share a few of the sources. The largest of our regular source is income tax. We collected $8.4 million in income tax. Our real estate tax collection was $4.6 million. The sewer treatment plant, we have our own sewer treatment plant, many of you know, it collected $3,400,000. Now, here is the beauty. Here is what we are really good at, and I am grateful to my directors. We collected $10,200,000 in grants and miscellaneous revenue. That's a lot of money. Now, I want to note that we carried over $300,000, which was a surplus from the previous year, which made the total available to us $26.9 million. Now, there was a significant increase in the grant revenue last year, and this was due primarily to the $3 million that we received from the federal and the county. Now, for the exclusive purpose of building the Southeast Emergency Communication Center. So obviously that's not reoccurring. So when I'm speaking to you next year, you will expect that revenue will be below the 26. So it's important to understand where these numbers come from because the revenues are fluctuating, but our basic general revenue funds are staying pretty constant. Because these grants, these miscellaneous revenues, they don't count as the income received. However, they don't become part of this general fund. So I don't want you to confuse the general fund from the things such as income tax and property tax, which is regular and ongoing, with this special funds, we'll call them. Now, we told you how much revenue we had. How much did we have in expenses? The city's expenses were $26,700,000 in 2014. Let me break some of this down and help see where it goes. Service used 47% of that revenue. 47%. Now, 47%, that's $12,700,000. And you can imagine when you hear those snow trucks going out at 3 o'clock in the morning, throwing salt around, that's an example of service. When you see leaves being collected, when you see the street sweeper going by, when you see our guys doing everything from planting flowers, all of those service items are necessary for the aesthetics of our community. And it's one of the things that makes people want to live in your community. So we will continue that. Another one of the things, let me tell you, we spend 47%, which is also $12 million for, on our safety in this community to show you how important it is. Now, when I say safety, I'm talking about quite a number of things. I'm talking about police, I'm talking about fire, I'm talking about EMS, I'm talking about dispatch, I'm talking about animal control, school crossing guards, street lights, auxiliary police, and the corrections facility. So there are a lot of things in that. Now here, in this building where we are right now, we spent 6% of our general revenue fund on this building. That's $1.5 million. Now, you say that's a lot of money to spend on leisure time activity, but this also includes activities for our children, activities for our senior citizens, and you need to have such a facility. Where would we be holding this if we didn't have this facility? I don't know how many of you have been in my office, but it wouldn't hold you all. It's not that big. It's big, but it's not that big. So we need a place such as this. Now, when debt goes unchecked, it's only a matter of time before trouble will occur in your community. Now, some of you who know me know how I am about debt. I just hate it. So our city debt situation here in Bedford Heights is very much under control, very much. As a matter of fact, this fine building that we're in right now, we had some forward-thinking folks who took out a monstrous mortgage to build this building. It was a wise decision. That was in 1994, 20 years ago. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. This document is the mortgage that we had on this building. That is over. I'm telling you, we are so fortunate that we have retired that. On the end of the year last year, we paid the last payment on this. This is ours. We own this. And we have some other good things that we want to talk about as far as this debt. But it's good to know that we're paying stuff off. So I'm going to try to massage these numbers as I put them out there slowly. In 2008, that's the first year that I was the mayor, we had $5,600,000 worth of debt. Fast forward to December the 14th, our outstanding debt was $1,100,000. So over that period of time, just that year, we reduced $900,000 of our debt. That's now from 2008 to 6 years later, for those of you who are adding this up, that's a decrease of $4.6 million. Now, I told you we're forward thinking. We look ahead. December 2015, the plan is for our outstanding debt to be $800,000. And by 2018, we expect to owe $290,000. Now, let me be real forward thinking here. By the end of my next term in 2019, it is my objective to have Bedford Heights debt-free. Debt-free. Now, what is the advantage of that? The advantage of being debt-free is that if you don't owe debt, you have more ability to be flexible with your spending. Because if your debt is not made and you're in default, it's all over. That's not going to happen. So let's talk a little bit about the community in terms of economic development. The goal of economic development is to retain, encourage expansion of existing companies and to attract new businesses. So in 2014, 35 new businesses relocated to Bedford Heights. And one of those new businesses is a company called Maestro. Now, you say, what? Here it is. It has designed and developed a wonderful product that they believe is the world's first wearable computer mouse. That's it. That's it. That's it. So I've been using this. It's wonderful. Now, here's the thing. The idea of the mouse came from while the founder was on a plane watching a businessman. If any of you, I know many of you have been on a business plane, so you try to work on your system, and what do you do with your mouse? You know, you're moving your computer over to have room for it. That is over. This is the mouse. These are the same 3 buttons that you have on your mouse. It will allow you to manipulate your computer just as if you had a mouse in your hand, and it's wearable. It is amazing. It is amazing. This is great. Now, here's something even better. They've been in business since 2010, and they relocated to Bedford Heights last year. Now, I would like to introduce you to this marvelous CEO called Stephanie Takara, who is the, guess what, person who is producing the product right here in Bedford Heights. Where are you, Stephanie? Stand up. And by the way, she's smart as a whip. She's smart. I'm telling you, she's smart. We are truly grateful that you and the founders have relocated to Bedford Heights, and we believe you can be very, very successful here in Bedford Heights, and we certainly are going to do all that we can to help you with that. Now, some of the 35 companies that relocated to Bedford Heights last year included OCP. Many of you go down Aurora Road every day, and you probably never think about this company. They're the last building right next to the car wash. That building sat empty for a long time. You go by there now, there's not a parking space on the parking lot. It is a construction company, and they are doing well. We have a Vitatex. We have a MacTex Motion and Control, HC Construction, Comfort Kids Zone, Ace Home Healthcare, just to name a few, just to give you an idea that these are real companies that are here in Bedford Heights. Now, business expansion, retention, and new businesses. The city of Bedford Heights has approximately 8.4 million square feet of commercial and industrial space available. Now, keep these numbers, because I throw a lot of numbers out. So keep 8.4 million square feet in your mind. We only have 830 square feet remaining available for lease. Now that's quite a bit. And that equates to only So our vacancies that's available is only 9.5%. That's all the availability we have. Now, we would love to have 100%. Who wouldn't? However, I'm telling you, 91.5% occupancy rate is pretty good. Pretty good. In fact, 71 companies relocated to Bedford Heights over the last couple of years. Now let's jump to engineering. Because reliable infrastructure is essential to a city's ability to attract and retain businesses. And guess what else? Residents kind of like riding on good streets too. I know I do. In 2014, we repaired a section of Miles Road near Green Road intersection, and it was a significant infrastructure project because of the amount of traffic on that street, right there where you come off the freeway. It was terrible. It was completed at a cost to the city. The city of Bedford Heights paid $124,000 to get this project done, which actually cost $370,000. So what you are hearing is something about our aggressiveness when we go to seek funds from other partners. So we offset this cost from Ohio Public Works, who put up $78,000. The County Public Works put up $123,000. The city of Warrensville, across the street, our neighbors, put up $45,000 for that stretch of road in there. Now, we did some concrete repairs, which I'm sure the residents saw us out there working. We did $160,000 in concrete repairs. We did $155,000 in asphalt. And every year, we do crack sealing of our streets. So we want to make sure that, you know, if you crack seal streets, you will preserve them and they'll last longer. But let's talk about going forward. Let's talk about what's on track for 2015. Richmond Road, from Aurora Road to Columbus Road, we plan to do that stretch in there. The east side of that belongs to Solon. The west side belongs to Bedford Heights. So we'll be working and partnering with Solon, because it don't make sense to do one side of a street. That's crazy. So we're going to partner with them and get something done. Now this is what's really exciting. I'm so excited and so optimistic about it, I'm going to put it out there early. Don, when I put it out there, you make sure it happens. Look here. Look, I know plenty of you come down Northfield Road, under the bridge, just before you turn on to Aurora, coming into Bedford Heights, and you know that is the worst spot that we have in Bedford Heights. We have tried to partner with the cities, because there's 3 cities that kind of meet in there. We have tried for a couple of years to partner with 3 cities to get that job done, and we have not been successful trying to get partners with them. So what we have done is we have begun a process with the help of ODOT, the Ohio Department of Transportation, to repair the intersection of that Aurora Northfield 480 ramp. So our expectation is, now you know me, you know every single year in Bedford Heights, Ohio, you are going to have a major traffic tie-up somewhere, because we're constantly working on the roads. You have to do that. But nobody falls in ravines when they drive their car down the street in Bedford Heights, I tell you that. Nobody calls me and tells me they tore up their tires in Bedford Heights. Nobody. I don't hear that. So that's why this is important. We are also in discussion, and this is really, Council President Brown, don't listen to this. We are into some serious discussion with a business about doing something about that Bedford Heights hotel property. Now, don't all y'all run up to me and say, what? Give us an update. I'm just kind of letting the cat out of the bag. Now, whether or not this business does something about it or not, I and council, we are going to have to work on doing something about that. So this year, we expect to see something happen with that over there. Building department. Let me talk a little bit about, even though we are in economic challenging times, as I mentioned earlier, and the fact that 35 new businesses relocated to Bedford Heights, the commercial improvement rose from $3.8 million in 2013 to $6.6 million last year. That's a lot of business improvement. Now, the residential improvement, now that fell, I'll tell you that fell, because that went from $3.8 million down to $1.3 million last year. Now, that was due primarily to the fact that they completed the 16 new homes that were built in Bedford Heights in 13. So remember I told you this stuff sort of ebbs and flows. So 16 new homes were built, so the residential part was up high, but it's now coming down to more of a standard, where this $1.3 million investment, that's us. That's us who are making repairs to our home because we are making a commitment to this city. Now, Bedford Heights welcomed 63 new families who purchased homes in 2014. And that's a good thing, because the total value of the new homes and remodeled homes, improvements rose, this is both of them, rose from a total of $6.9 million in 13 to $7.8 million in 14 when you count the business and the residents combined. Now, all of those improvements, what do they do for us? They increase tax revenue, property tax revenue. Now, let me get back and tell you a little bit about what some of those companies were. Giant Eagle Warehouse on Richmond Road is our #1 employer in this city. They put a $2.4 million improvement in their business over there. And what do you think they put it into? I had to go see this when I heard it. A banana room. A banana room. You know, and so I went over there, and unbeknownst to me, they get bananas in that are rock hard and green. And they have the ability to control the ripening process. You know, I thought you just laid them on the counter at home and they just ripened, and then somebody says these too ripe to eat and throw them away. They don't take it to chance. And now we also spend some money. Our dispatch center, we put $918,000 into our own facility. I know by now most of you have seen the Family Dollar that I talked about last year. They put $750,000 into their facility. We have Zenith System over there off of Miles Road. They put $250,000 in it. Ellerman Plumbing, if you've gone down Richmond Road, they're putting a new exterior onto their building. They're putting $250,000 in that. So there are some things that's going on. When you have businesses that are willing to continue investing in your properties, believe me, you are fortunate. Now, I want to personally express my gratitude and welcome the opportunity to meet anybody who is interested in having businesses in Bedford Heights, whether you want to come into Bedford Heights, whether you want to talk about improving what you have in Bedford Heights. I certainly welcome that opportunity to have that conversation. Now, what we also have is we have a relationship with the businesses in our community. So they advertise, they give us their job openings initially. And so, we received, just this month alone, 20 job openings from our businesses in Bedford Heights. So all of those jobs are posted out on our website if you want to go out there and look. So let me jump to the police department. Look, no matter which community you live in or work in, if it's not safe, nothing else matters. We have a police exam scheduled for April 11th and plan to hire additional officers. The Bedford Heights Police Department is very active. In 2014, they had a total of 579 cases that they took care of. And these cases are, they consist of citizen complaints or criminal offenses. But the safety of our residents and businesses is our top priority. And you heard me talk about the $10 million that we spent on that, toward that safety. Now, that safety includes all of the things you heard me talk about, the police, the fire, the EMS, and we're spending the $10 million because we believe it's worth it. The Bedford Heights Police Department, they run the jail facility as well as the police department. They took in about $1.4 million over there, but I can tell you it's very expensive to run a prison, I'll call it an inmate facility over there. Today's police department requires a lot of collaboration with other communities. And so I'm gonna give you a few examples of how we collaborate, because we don't have everything that's all our own, but we have a shared SWAT team. We have a SEAL bomb squad. We have a narcotics task force. All these are shared things so that we don't have to foot the whole bill. And thanks to the hard work of our police force and increased use of criminal analysis tools and technologies, our residents and business community can rest assured that our safety forces are well-trained, well-equipped, and vigilant. We also, you've heard me talk about our PAC, police and community acting together. That is up and doing well. We also have a juvenile diversion program, because if you throw all of the kids that get in trouble into the system, they are going to pay for it down the road. So what we want to do is put them in our own juvenile diversion program, and they go through certain steps, and whatever the situation is, at the end of that program, whatever those situations are, they can have it expunged rather than have something that follows them around forever. And it's a great idea. The activities designed to improve the overall quality of life for the residents and the business of Bedford Heights. That's what all of this is really about. And I can tell you this as a safety director. I can assure you that we control the streets in Bedford Heights, period. Nobody debates that. Let me get to the fire department. I do want to say a couple things about the fire department, because for more than a half a century, the Bedford Heights Fire Department has provided this community with the best emergency service available in the area, the best. And I will challenge anybody to rebuttal that. And they focus on fire and rescue and service and fire prevention and the public education, a lot of those things. The department, once again, was very active. In 2014, they received 2,342 calls for service, which is about a 9% increase over 13. And believe it or not, January is actually the busiest month for the fire department. Now, fire prevention is equally as important as fire suppression. So our fire department conduct fire prevention activities, inspections on a regular basis across the city. But the thing that they're also good at is grants. The fire department applied for a number of grants, and as a result, Bedford Heights received $2,100,000 in grants. And the majority of that came from a FEMA grant for the design, development, and construction of our Southeast Area Regional Dispatch Center right over there in our City Hall. Now this is really noteworthy. They also received a grant from the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. So you wouldn't think too much about this, but what happens when a fire department goes out and they have to rescue a 700-pound patient and get them into a squad car, or not a squad car, but into an emergency vehicle? You can imagine that's a task. And so I can tell you, because I've personally went down to check this out myself, they got this grant. They have a cot that is an automatic loader into the emergency vehicle. So the person is on there and the thing magically pulls them into the cart by itself. It can handle up to 700 pounds. Whereas before, if they had somebody that weighed 700 pounds and I got two guys out there, guess what they're going to do? Help. They got to call for help. They got to wait for help. Somebody else has to come. You take somebody else away from something. So that's what I mean about being innovative and being able to do some of these great things with some of this grant dollars that they get. And when, and they have open house. So when the police and the fire have these open houses, you need to come. You need to come and see some of these really inventive things that we are doing here in Bedford Heights. Now, let me talk about the public works, although I don't have to talk about them much, because all you have to do is wait for a snow season and you know how they perform. The department is also responsible for the overall maintenance and upkeep of the municipal streets as well, and the buildings. And so they're doing more than just working in the wintertime. They're working year-round on various projects. They're out there getting leaves at one moment. They're out there chipping branches at another moment. They're watering flowers, planting flowers, cutting vacant lots. So they are extremely, extremely active. They manage our senior citizen programs, such as the grass cutting and the snow plowing. They oversee that program. 2013 was difficult. They managed to do a lot, but it was difficult. It was difficult because we had a fire in 2013, and they were out of business. The fire was actually December 2013. So for 2014, they did most of this without having an adequate facility. And we have restored that facility down there to Service Garage. Over $1 million restoration was required after this fire, to give you some idea how it was. Last year, we also did a lot of recycling, 257 tons, which sadly is a reduction in the number that we had collected before. But we do have this plan to increase that by bringing on board this new system that I talked about. Now, most of you in here have heard about our emerald borer ash. This tree removal program will continue through 15. 3 years ago, we had 658 of these ash trees. We removed 398 of these trees. So for those of you doing the math, that's 260 of these trees that we still have to remove. Last year, we contracted for the removal of 152 of these trees, and it cost $28,000 to get these trees down. Now, our service department, they took down an additional 30. Of course, now, you can't just take a tree down. You got to remove stumps. So the stump removal, we removed about 182 stumps. That cost another $10,000. So everything that goes on in a city costs money. Now, our service department is doing a great job. in light of the reduced staff over the past several years, they continue to provide this community with the quality and standard of upkeep that our residents have come to expect and rely on. So I appreciate it. I thank you all, and let me just share about the water reclamation. We are fortunate, sometimes unfortunate maybe, but fortunate that we have our own wastewater treatment plant that operates 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We provide service not only to Bedford Heights, but parts of Oakwood Village, Glen Willow, Solon, and Warrensville Heights. The benefit to us of having a water treatment plant facility locally is that our rates are some of the lowest in the county. Now, the plant operates solely on sewage charges, as mandated by the state, which means that they are self-sustaining, and so they have to generate all of the revenue that is required to run that facility. And it's big. To give you an idea, they discharge 713 million gallons of water through that plant last year. And so our facility down there received revenues totaling $3.4 million in 14. That's an increase of about $200,000 over the previous year. Now, during 2014, we completed and installed repairs of a number of things down there. The good news for us is that our guys down there are quite skilled, and they can do a lot of work that we don't have to go outside and get done, which will cost us a lot of money. But for the residents, here's what I want you to hear. Our employees responded to 689 sewer calls last year. Sewer calls. Now, if you take those 689 sewer calls that the residents would have had to place to Roto-Rooter or someone else, you start to see what a great benefit that is. It's expensive. All you have to do is just apply the numbers and you could see. So that is why people come to Bedford Heights, is because the services are exceptional. And speaking of that, housing. We are pleased, as I told you earlier, that we welcomed 63 new homeowners to relocate to Bedford Heights last year. So now we have a total households of 2,703 residential households in Bedford Heights. Now here's some numbers that's interesting. 74 of those homes are in some level of vacancy, which actually is 45 fewer than we had in this situation for 2013. This still equates to less than 2% vacancy rates. Now, 23 of the 174 vacancies are currently being rehabbed, while 7 are scheduled to be demolished. Because if you have a raggedy house here and don't take care of it, we are going to tear it down. And that's important. So we're very happy with the way things are going here in terms of our housing stock. Our building department is extremely vigilant in keeping this together. So this community life building that we own, thank you, glad we do. We spent $1,400,000 to run this community in 13, which was 9% decrease from 12. But the problem is it only generated $319,000 in revenue last year, and that was down 10% from 12. Now, $51,000 was generated last year from us looking outside of the box and bringing in new opportunities. I am so glad Keldridge Center, we have our facility over here, our adult facility next door that Gloria, stand and take a bow. that Gloria runs, and we are so happy to get your check on time every month. No, I mean, thank you. You're doing a great job for the adults over there, and we thank you. The center ended 2014 with only 1,398 members. That's not enough. And by the way, we have already opened this up to Bedford, Oakwood, and Walton Hills. So we're not really seeing what we would like to see in that, but there's reasons why we have to be here. Here's one of the reasons. We run summer programs out of this for the youth in this community. Last summer, we served 2,000 children during the 8-week period that we have this program at no cost to them. So we have a responsibility as a community to ensure that our youth and seniors are cared for. And that's what we're focusing on, and that's what we're continuing to do. And I'm sure that many of you have utilized our senior programs, such as transportation, whether it's meals, whether it's trip, whether it's grass cutting, whether it's snow removal. That's what we offer to our seniors. And you, if you've used our center at all, you know that we have one of the greatest aquatics facilities back there. And this is very interesting. We had 25,000 people drop into the indoor pool, whirlpool, and sauna. This is a huge number. So we count when they come in, how many times they dip in it. And it's some of the same ones that may be coming 2 or 3 times a week. That's good. We want to encourage that. All right, have you heard enough yet? You want to hear some more? I'll tell you what, anybody went to sleep on me, I'll find you on the camera. I'm not going to embarrass you, but I'm going to run it over and over. Everybody going to see. No, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that. But let me say this. I'm going to wrap this up because I promised I would only keep people an hour, and I like to be good to my word. So I would like to say that I will be here. I will be here to address any questions, any issues that you might have. So just because I'm going to move away from this, I'm going to give you the opportunity to hear some of the things or to ask some of the detail. Obviously, in an hour, I can't possibly tell you everything that's going on in Bedford Heights. But I have a great deal of comfort in telling you that things are going well. And it is our plan to ensure that they continue going well and that Bedford Heights continues to be the kind of community that you want to live, raise a family, grow a business, and retire and grow old in. All right? Thank you. Thank you so very, very much.